The new year is just around the corner, and in this video I want to show you how you can start to get your life together now so that by the time January arrives you're feeling fresh and ready to embrace the new year. Being organised helps you feel more productive because it makes it easier for you to actually complete tasks. When your environment, the things that surround you and the things you use every single day are organised, your mind has less to think about, and that means you can pursue the things you want in a way that feels good. So here are my top 5 tips of how you can get your life organised now so that you set yourself up for success in 2022. Tip number 1 is awareness. So the first thing you need to do is actually become aware of which areas of your life require more attention than others. Some areas of your life might be ticking along nicely, and others might be a little bit more chaotic. You may have spent this year procrastinating or delaying things or avoiding things, and so they might require a little bit more of your attention. So a great way to do this is to use something called the Wheel of Life. The Wheel of Life is a tool that is commonly used in coaching. I actually have a step-by-step tutorial of how to use this on my IGTV, which is basically going to give you a bird's eye view of the important areas of your life and how organized you're feeling in relation to each. So when I did this exercise, I realized that something that I really wanted to give my attention to was my physical environment, my home. And one of those things for me was my wardrobe. Something else might be your business if you have one, or parts of your business, or it could be your personal life. Once you become aware of which areas of your life need to be a little bit more organized, the next thing to do is to simplify. So when I simplify, I do 2 things. I group things that belong together, and I remove anything I no longer need. This can be a physical or even a digital process. Examples of this might be to declutter and organize your wardrobe like I did, to organize your emails, or maybe decluttering and organizing your folders on your laptop. Something else you can do is merge your calendars together. For example, at one point I had 2 Google calendars, 1 Outlook calendar, plus the calendar on my phone, and it was just driving me mad. I had to look in so many different places and I kept missing things. So by simplifying, by grouping things together, removing the calendars that I no longer needed, and just having everything in one place, I've just made my life so much easier and I feel so much more organized. Tip number 3 is to eat the frog. What I mean by this is I really want you to look at the things that you avoided for the majority of 2021. There will be tasks on your to-do list. Maybe it's to book your dentist appointment, maybe it's to take your car to be serviced, maybe it's to message that friend that you haven't spoken to in a while. Maybe it's to launch a product that you have thought about creating but you keep putting off. Whatever it is that you've been procrastinating on, it's time to get it done. So make a list of what they are if you don't have one already, and dedicate a whole day to just getting these things done. Or if you can't do them in a day, then make sure you schedule them in over the next 2 to 3 months so that by the end of 2021, you will have ticked them off. If you want a little help on how to eat the frog, I recommend this book called Eat the Frog by Brian Tracy. I will link it down in the description box. It really goes into the detail of why it's so important to get things done, especially these tasks that we tend to avoid, and tips on how you can actually do it. Tip number 4 is to create routines. Now, most people wait until January the 1st to have new habits, new routines with a whole new year, new me trend. But what we're going to do is we're going to start those new habits and routines now, because there's no time like the present. And what we're interested in is creating lasting lifestyle changes and not just jumping on the same trend that comes around every single January. Whenever you create change, there is always a period of adjustment, a period where you have to adapt to the new normal. And during this period, we are not as efficient, we are not as knowledgeable, we are not as fast, we're not as skilled, because we're still learning. We're still getting used to doing things in a different way. So by starting now, by the time 2022 comes around, you will have gone through this period of adjustment, you will have got used to your new routines, and you will hit the ground running whilst everyone else is still trying to find their feet. So to create great routines, think about what you must do and what you want to do, and then group together the tasks that would actually allow you to achieve those things. If you need more help in relation to building routines, then I have a whole video on this topic, which I will link in the description box below. And tip number 5 to get your life together is to create a hub for your things. What I mean by this is don't have 6 notebooks, 10 places where you jot down ideas, 3 digital platforms where you create your vision boards, 4 folders where you might find your important documents, 3 drawers where you may find your house keys. When things don't have a home where they can quickly be found and then put back into once you've used them, you make it so much harder on yourself to complete tasks quickly and efficiently. And the harder it is to do something, the more we are likely to avoid it. For example, if one of your tasks that you've been avoiding is calling the tax office to pay your tax bill, and you already don't particularly fancy being on the phone, being put on hold, talking to people about topics that you have no interest in, especially when it's paying your taxes. And on top of that, you need to first hunt around the house looking for the letter that they sent you with the number to call and the reference number to give. You are going to make that task even more undesirable. You are going to come up with excuses not to do that task because you don't know what the letter is, because it would take you ages to look for it. So a task that is already not particularly fun to do has been made more difficult by the fact that you don't have a hub for the things you need to complete it. This doesn't just apply to physical objects or to digital things. It also applies to thoughts and ideas. How many times have you read a book and you've come across this great line, this great chapter that really resonated with you and prompted some creative ideas of how to do something, or maybe that you want to share with your audience or with your clients, and you think, oh, this will be great, and you don't write it down. And next thing you know, you cannot remember which book it was in, which chapter it was in, which page it was on. And this is because our brains are not built to store ideas. They are built to create them. And when thoughts and ideas don't have a home to go to, they float around. And this is why you randomly get reminders of things that you need to do at the most inconvenient times. So maybe you're in the process of trying to do a task where you're really trying to focus, and you'll remember that you didn't take the bins out, or you'll remember that you didn't post something on social media. That's because those thoughts don't have a hub, they don't have a home, they're floating around your brain. So give yourself a place or a couple of places for you to actually store those thoughts and ideas so that they can be put in those hubs until they are needed. I do this on a couple of places. I like to have a physical notebook for me to write things down on, but I also like to have a digital version for when I'm on the go. So what I use for that is Notion, which I can access both from my laptop and from my mobile. And that means that whenever I have ideas, I will add them to my brain dump section. This is a section of my Notion that I use to write down things that I remember that I need to do randomly and ideas that come up randomly as well. And I tend to keep this open on my desktop when I'm working, so that if I'm in the middle of a task and I get a reminder of something that I need to do, want to do, an idea, I quickly jot it down, and then it is out of my brain and I'm ready to get back to the task that I was focusing on. Now, if you've made it until the end of the video, I have a bonus tip for you. Set your 2022 goals now. Hear me out. Most people will wait until the end of December or beginning of January to set their new year goals. But if you set your goals now, you can actually plan and prep for them so that come January, you can start working on achieving them. What can sometimes happen, and this has happened to me before, is let's say one of my goals is to start a painting course. Fab. So on the 1st of January, I'm setting my goals for the year and I want to start a painting course. So I've written my goals down. Then it takes me a couple of weeks to actually start looking into it and do some research and find out like which type of course I want to do and when it's starting. And I find out that the course I wanted to do started on the 6th of January. And I've now missed the start date. Had I planned my goals before January, I could have done my research, and come the new year, I would have been ready to hit the ground running and start doing the things I want to do. So I invite you to start thinking about the things that you want to achieve in 2022 now. Even if you don't set your yearly goals, I would highly encourage you to start thinking about your Q1 goals for the new year, so that by the time January comes around, Q1 has begun, you already know what you want to be working on. Again, if you need help setting goals, I have a whole video on specifically that topic that can help you step by step, and it includes a free downloadable template that I use to set my goals, which you can also get your hands on. So I hope these tips have helped you, and I hope that I've given you some ideas of how you can get your life together now, that by the time 2022 comes around, you are flying high, my friend. Leave any questions and comments down below. If you found this helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys. I don't know what this is. It's a new thing. Bye bye. Oh.